In 1998, there were two asteroid-style, end-of-the-world type films that came out. I already reviewed Armageddon. We're going to talk about the other one right now. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well out there. Today, we're going to talk about the other end-of-the-world asteroid-type film that came out in 1998. But before we talk about that film, do me a favor, as I always ask, please like, comment, and subscribe. Join me here, I greatly would appreciate that. Today we're going to talk about 1998's Deep Impact. Now, that same year we had Armageddon that I reviewed a few months ago. You can check out that review if you scroll on down. But I figured, what the heck, I just picked up that 4K for Deep Impact for the 25th anniversary, and I gotta be honest, the transfer looks great. It's the best the film's ever looked. So if you're a fan of that film, it's on Amazon for like $19.99. I highly recommend picking it up if you do like this film, and it sounds great as well. Now, Armageddon came out July 1st of 1998. This one came out May 8th of 1998. It beat it to the punch. Although this one was in development before Armageddon was in development. So this one should have beat it to the punch, but there was a race against time for the competing films that came out that year. This film was directed by Mimi Letter, and she had a $75 to $80 million budget. It kind of fluctuates depending on what source you look at online, so I figured give it a little bit of a range. And upon release, it made $140 in America and $349 worldwide. Now, in this film has a pretty damn good cast, as does Armageddon, but this one has Robert Duvall as Spurgeon Tanner. He's been an astronaut who went into space many times, and he is like the leader of the space mission we're going to talk about. Tia Leone plays Jenny Lerner, and she is a reporter from MSNBC in this film. Elijah Wood plays Leo Bitterman, and he actually discovers the comet. It's actually a comet, they call it, not an asteroid in this film, at the beginning of this film. And Morgan Freeman plays President Beck. Lily Sobolski's in this film. Jon Favreau makes an appearance in this film. James Cromwell, Maximilian Schell, and Mary McCormick. So it does have a pretty damn good cast here, just like Armageddon. And speaking of Elijah Wood, right in the beginning of the film, his character is on his field trip with school, and his girlfriend's Lily Sobolski's character, and he just sees this object in space. So his teacher notes it and sends it off to this guy he knows that works for NASA. He's working out in Tucson from a telescope. And Dr. Wolf, and he finds it, he realizes what it is, and he's right, back then the internet's not what it is now, so he couldn't get an email out, so he jumps in his car, he doesn't get in an accident, and nobody knows that this comet is coming towards Earth until a year later, when we find out that the comet will make contact with Earth, and it will be an extinction level event. And there's two comets. There's a smaller one and there's a bigger one. And Jenny finds this out just by happenstance, and she ends up having a secret meeting with the president to hold off on telling the public for 2 days. They think she knows everything. She really doesn't. She kind of knows, but she's not really in on everything. And we discover that we have a mission going up with Jon Favreau, character Robert Duvall, Mary McCormick, and some others that are going up with a plan to drill in, kind of like Armageddon, and detonate nuclear weapons to explode the comet, so just in a million little pieces, and the Earth will be saved. The mission fails, so some of the world leaders have prepared these cave systems. The United States has one where we're going to put 1 million people in there, and they have this lottery and the drama, because it's basically, this movie centers around the trip, the mission into space with Robert Duvall and Jon Favreau and his crew. Elijah Wood, his parents, and his girlfriend Lily Sobolski, that storyline, and then Jenny and her father, her estranged father, well, her parents have been divorced, and her coming to terms with what has happened between her father and her mother. And that's pretty much the heart of this film. And basically at the end, we get our wham bam special effects and destruction, but then we have a hopeful ending, just like Armageddon had a hopeful ending where we end up surviving, although millions of people have died, but the rest of the world will be saved. And that's pretty much Deep Impact, although some of our main cast die. Tia Leone stands on the beach with her father as this giant wave comes in and crashes on him. So some of our cast does die here. So there is tragedy here. What to like about this? I always like both movies, but Deep Impact was definitely a more character-driven movie where we spend a lot of time with our characters. There's the special effects and the destruction and all that, but it's not as bombastic as Armageddon, and it's not as... There's effects here, don't get me wrong, but Armageddon is definitely more effects heavier than this film. We get all that stuff here, but it's in smaller doses. Where Armageddon, it's pretty much throughout most of the film, we're getting effects and all this loud noises and all this stuff going on. We're here, we have a lot of quieter moments between characters. So this film's definitely a more sober look at what that would look like. Supposedly it's more scientifically accurate. I'm not saying it's 100% accurate, but they say this one's definitely more scientifically accurate than Armageddon was. I like this film. I think it's well acted. Morgan Freeman as the president's great, as you would expect Morgan Freeman to be. Tia Leone's good here. Robert Duvall's always great whenever he's on film, and he's great here as well. Elijah Wood's good for what he has to do. Everybody's good across the board here. I think overall, the movie itself, I think most of the problems stem from the effects, especially in high def, especially in 4K. A lot of the effects still look pretty damn good, considering this is from '98, and their budget was less than what Armageddon had. I think Armageddon had 120, 125 million. They had 75 to 80, so this had less money. I think a lot of the effects still hold up pretty decently, but some of the effects don't hold up that well, especially in 4K. That's the one drawback of 4K. It looks amazing, but with the higher definition, you could see the effects they're definitely 1998 CGI. But the film's still a crowd pleaser. I still like this film. I do actually prefer Armageddon as a film. I think Armageddon's more exciting. It's definitely more the flashier movie. Like I said, it's more bombastic. It's more in your face. There's more effects. There's more stuff exploding. That's definitely the more action-heavy film out of the two films. This is more of the more character-driven movie out of the two end-of-the-world type scenario movies that we got that summer. Actually, Steven Spielberg was originally supposed to direct this film. He was busy on one of his films, so he couldn't direct it, but he stayed on as executive producer. And this film was kicking around for a while. And there's even rumors that the people who wrote the script for this had a meeting with some of the people at Disney, because Touchstone Pictures, which is a Disney arm of Disney, made Armageddon. And before they knew it, Disney was going into production on their own end-of-the-world, asteroid type movie with Michael Bay and Jerry Bruckheimer. So we got two movies that summer, and you know what? They both have their merits. I enjoy the hell out of both of them. I just prefer Armageddon. Armageddon did make more money, which is not a stamp of quality. I'm not saying, because I know some folks like Deep Impact more. Armageddon made 201 in the US and 553 worldwide, although it did have a $50 million more budget compared to this film. At the end of the day, this is a very well made. I love the acting here. I like the story. At the end of the day, I still enjoy the hell out of Deep Impact. I would give it an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for Deep Impact. Have you ever seen Deep Impact? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. What would you rate this film out of 10? Let me know down below. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Share this video. I would appreciate that. I'll be back again with some more videos, but until next time, bye.